with this one, I have to say we're a little bit. Okay, I'm going to tell you straight up what I think is going to happen. I think we're both going to name the same person for our top pick and the same person for our second pick / honourable pick. So I'm on the count of 3 going to count down, and you name who you think your top pick is. We'll then go straight in, count down from 3, you name who your second pick is. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be on the same wavelength here. So 3, 2, 1.
Phil Brown.
Ferguson.
Sorry, I'm just joking. It's Alex Ferguson.
Okay then, someone likes Bullard a bit too much on the old pointy finger on the halftime pitch. And second pick in 3, 2, 1.
Wenger.
Okay, yeah. So,
Easy. They're easy picks. They're really easy picks.
do we need to go? Do we need to go into the stats here? They're quite self-explanatory, aren't they?
They have very similar stats. So Alex Ferguson, he has 1,500 appearances. Sorry, as a manager. What do you call them then?
Managed games.
Okay, managed games. How did it end on 1,500? That's quite wild. 895 wins, 338 draws, 267 losses. Really great record. So he had a win percentage of 59.7. And yeah, for me, he's the absolute undisputed manager of the Premier League. He ruled with an absolute iron fist. But to me, what people don't realise is that he showed a lot of love to his players. Right, and he did a speech to Harvard, and he said one of his main tactics and methods was actually showing love. It's only if you betrayed his trust that he would feed you to the wolves, and you'd be never seen again in the Premier League. Well, but he bloody kicked a boot at. Would he kick a boot at Beckham's head?
Well, he sold Beckham. He sold Keane. As soon as they betrayed that trust, God. I think the main thing that separates Wenger and Ferguson is knowledge of the game and their position and awareness of where they are in that game. Let me explain that.
Yeah, I know what I understand.
Ferguson could see the game, he could see it evolving, and he realised this is my time to get off, this is my time to leave.
What was more impressive with that, he was like, let me just deal with the man management of it all. Right? He appointed so many heads of department in Man United. Carlos Queiroz in charge of tactics and
No, but he did that throughout his whole career. He was always a manager. He wasn't a coach. I think there's some former Manchester United players who said he never picked up a training cone. But it's awareness, and where they separated is he could see that the game was moving on, that it was kind of slipping past him. All the lessons, all the things that he had passed on to the Premier League had slowly been picked up by other managers, and they were catching up with him, and he saw, this is my time to leave. I'm going to move on before the game takes over me. Wenger, and
I just think Wenger was just addicted to the game. He just couldn't let it go.
He loved the game. He loved the game a lot, and not saying he loved it more or less than Ferguson, but he was not able to see through that the game was moving past him. Again, he sought the Premier League so much, but those lessons were picked up upon. They were incorporated into other manager styles, and by the time he left, he sort of ruined his own chance of being the number one pick a little bit. Well, I'd say not even a little bit. He did. Wenger's biggest problem was Wenger.
Before we get into Arsene Wenger, for me, Alex Ferguson, what can you say about this guy? The thing that I credit him most with is all of the team rebuilds he's done over 20 Premier League seasons. He must have done 5 team rebuilds and won. I don't even know how many Premier Leagues he won because it's just too many. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
14,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 Premier Leagues. So Arsene Wenger's not going to win on Premier Leagues. And master of the mind games as well. Unfortunately, Kevin Keegan is infamous for all the wrong reasons, and he made the Premier League box office. I guess him and Wenger kind of made it box office by playing mind games with each other, even though they were just genuinely doing it against each other. But that rivalry was just awesome. And looking back, no one till this day has that Sir Alex Ferguson stare, where he stares into your soul and makes you think that, are you even worthy as a human being? And he did that to every single player and intimidated them to do exactly what he wanted.
It didn't help that you could actually see the level of annoyance that he was at simply by his skin tone. Because he would start white, and then by the end of it, if you've not picked up that he's mad at you...
He's gone purple. He's gone absolutely purple with rage.
So I think...
He had a very unfair advantage. The Fergie time, he had like 20 minutes to score the final goal whenever he wanted.
Maybe referees were petrified of
him. They were genuinely petrified of him at Old Trafford. That's why they have the most penalties awarded, because Man United were the institution. They were as big, or if not bigger, than the Premier League itself.
But the thing is, if he's gained that advantage
out of his own right,
if he's gained that not through money, not through kind of using the size of the club, but if he's used that just by sheer reputation, then fair play. He's earned it.
I think it's fair to say he's the undisputed manager of the Premier League, and you could never have anyone overtake him, I don't think.
I don't think so either. And I add on top of that, you were talking about the rivalry. I think we'd be very lucky to have a similar rivalry, because rivalries, they're made over time. And you have to think, you need two managers to be that consistent for that long to build that sort of rivalry. Because every season, Arsenal and United would build a little bit more, because they would constantly be at loggerheads. It creates that friction, and at some point it slips and you get the earthquake, you get the volcano, you get that reaction. Pep versus Mourinho, it's not the same. It's there. But the thing is, every time it builds a little bit of friction, it moves away again.
Yeah,
there's not the consistency.
But back in those days, like the type of football that was played, it was actually a war in each of those games. Those 2 games a season, it was an outright battle. You could kick, bite, and do whatever you wanted, and that obviously sparked controversy.
You could even throw pizza for someone. Fabregas.
I never credited Sir Alex Ferguson, but that's amazing. I don't know what exactly to call it, but he never came out with it, and he never blamed Fabregas for that. So it's kind of... I have a lot of respect for Ferguson, actually.
I don't think you know. Do you know Gascoigne was going to sign for Manchester United until Tottenham offered him like a tanning booth for his sister and all sorts of weird stuff.
Ferguson was probably right to be like, you weirdo.
No. Gascoigne actively avoided Ferguson, I think, for the rest of his career.
What? Because he was scared of him now?
Because he told Ferguson that he was going to sign for United.
Oh, yeah.
And Gascoigne was like, I don't want none of that trouble. I don't want to fight that big Scottish beetroot.
Exactly. He's scared. That Sir Alex Ferguson is scary. One story which I do absolutely adore is that he had a squad. He had his main strikers. I don't know exactly who, but he had 2 rotation players or something like that. They were strikers. And he went up to both of them and he said to them both, at some point during the season, one of you are going to let me down, but it's okay. And the psychological mindfuck of that is that both of the players were like, oh my God, that person is not going to be me. So it actually made them perform. That's just an amazing little story.
Ahead of his game.
Great. But
until he weren't, and then he found the exit door. He's just... You could all, it's bored. You could even say it's selfish, the fact he didn't try when the game was catching up with him. But you got to just hand the gene. If a player quits at 33 because he sees he's getting a bit slow, he's a genius. I think the same should be said for a manager. Not like say like Wenger carried on to as a player, say 38 and was well past.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll give you Arsene Wenger's stats. He played. He didn't play. He managed 1,235 games, won 707, drew 280, lost 248, and had a win percentage of 57.2. But if you think about it, Ferguson had a 59.7 win percentage. So that last 3 or 4 seasons, even more actually, Wenger really kind of ruined his win percentage there because he couldn't let go.
Could you imagine if he left the same time as Fergie?
I mean, it still wouldn't be that close, but it would be more of an argument.
Oh, in my eyes, it'd be...
Close.
It would be a big argument.
Okay.
I think Ferguson would come out on top still, just when it comes down to the statistics and when they've won, he just about beats him.
Yeah.
But it would be an argument, whereas at the moment, it's an agreement. Ferguson, Wenger.
Yeah, because maybe Wenger has the extra bit of, like, he went through a totally rebuilding Arsenal as an actual club. Like, help them move to a new stadium, help them create a new training stadium, state of the art. Like, my one case for Arsene Wenger is that he brought the modern game to the Premier League with diet, nutrition, like dynamic sports, stretching, analysis based on statistics. He and also what I really credit him, he was one of the first to do this, he unlocked different markets to source players for cheap, which wasn't really a practice, and like
everyone was cheap back then as well.
Yeah, exactly. And Ferguson had a formula of, well, on top of the class of 92, of just like buying the best player in the league to supplement his squad, and it was kind of like the Bayern Munich way of like winning the league, and I think like Wenger disrupted that.
I think, well, add on top of that, I think another difference between them is Ferguson understood the need to refresh teams, and you said it. You complimented with rebuilds. I wouldn't call them rebuilds. They weren't. They were small changes that are made over an amount of time, and there would never need for a massive rebuild. And I think that's something that Wenger didn't have in his locker, because he built a brilliant team, a team that went undefeated for 49 games. He built possibly the best team.
He patched that for a while, but then Wenger did a full squad rebuild, which is quite crazy.
No, but it's not just that, but he wasn't able to rebuild again. From that team, it just all went downhill. Yeah, he lost Vieira, and he was never able to build it.
It's sad. You let go of Campbell, let go of Gilberto, Vieira. You could just pick one of those and just build around that. So there we have it. So we have, what did we agree on? We agreed on Petr Cech in goal. We agreed on Ashley Cole in defence. Midfielder was Paul Scholes. Unfortunately, we didn't agree with striker. I picked Henry. I'm sure most of you will pick Henry. He picked Alan Shearer.
That was bullshit comment.
And then we picked Sir Alex Ferguson as manager. And there we have our Hall of Fame. Can you please discuss and debate and let us know what your first ballot Hall of Fame is for the Premier League? And play by the same rules. Premier League only. 4 seasons as a minimum. And retired players only.